Chicken marsala. Made it myself.
Did you leave work early to cook all this?
Nope, whipped it up in a snap.
Glad I made you take all those cooking classes.
Oh yeah, they're totally paying off.
What you just saw was a visual demonstration on why cooking is one of the sexiest attributes for a potential mate. So gentlemen, pay attention, because it's time to bring some livelihood, some manlyhood, some pride, and some romance into the kitchen, and on a budget. Welcome to the Thrift Store Rundown. Today we have the one cookbook that's going to lay the foundation for all of this delicious awesomeness. Man-Made Meals, the essential cookbook for guys. This is the 29th cookbook by Raichlen, whom Esquire magazine has dubbed America's Master Griller. I suddenly concur with that, given the fact that I own 3 of his cookbooks: How to Grill, Planet Barbecue, that's actually How to Grill with the Planet Barbecue cover, kind of a ripoff, Barbecue USA, and the Barbecue Bible. All of them you can find on this channel. They're all in need of makeovers though. Regardless, in Man-Made Meals, he proves that he's worth his spice in the kitchen and encourages you to do the same. I obtained this for $4.99 and for 25% off. Man up and cook, just for that reason alone. Okay, maybe not for that reason alone. There's some other reasons here which I'll list. Here's how. Learn the tools and techniques. It's knife, fire, and blowtorch fun. In the introduction, this book covers the essential pantry staples and flavor boosters which you should acquire, like anchovies, miso paste, and bacon. Any Guy food cookbook that does not have bacon is a Guy food cookbook not worth buying. In the introduction, it also contains the essential kitchen utensils, tools, and appliances needed to rock the kitchen. Master the basics: how to suck an oyster, roast a chicken, grill a steak to the perfect doneness. Discover powerful flavor boosters like the ones I just mentioned, and olive paste, and how to use them. And most of all, learn how to make more than 300 great recipes to dazzle a date, impress your spouse, be a hero to your family, or simply feed yourself with real pleasure. The latter 2 reasons are very admirable, but you know me, my focus is on the former 2. Recipes to dazzle a date and impress your spouse. So let's get started. There's a lot to cover in here. And we're actually going to start, and not start, with breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Men don't have a monopoly on breakfast, of course, but this first meal of the day gives us a unique opportunity to shine. When a woman makes breakfast, it's a morning meal. When a guy does it, it becomes an event. You'll know what I mean if you don't already. The first time you cook breakfast for a date that began the previous evening. And for that, we're going to take a little throwback to last night, which was the foundation for all of this delicious awesomeness waiting to happen. Say for instance that you already bought this cookbook. In that case, I salute you. And you made the love of your life, or the love of your life fillet, something along the lines of dirty steaks with bell pepper pan fry.
This is the most primal way, the most manly way there is to cook a steak on the fire. I find that meat cooked on the bone always has the most flavor. Cooking is one of the rare things you can do in life that is both good for you and fun.
One of the most primal and awesome ways to cook a steak on the grill. There's definitely a lot of showmanship involved in that, and a lot of showing off, but in a good way, in a rewarding way. Ignore this. This is the skillet rib steak, which does also look delicious, but this is not the correct recipe for this. I'll get into why this might be the lone detractor in this cookbook in a little bit. As I said, there's much to cover. But supposing if you made those dirty steaks, and your date was so impressed that she was convinced to sleep over, well then it's time you bring out the big guns for breakfast. We have brioche French toast, Bon Perdue, and Torres. Is that right? That is the Spanish version of French toast, and it's one of my favorite breakfast foods. Don't ignore this. This is the Mile High Pancake. Once again, that is not the corresponding picture for the recipe. So yeah, this is the one fault I have with this. But still, French toast. That's gonna make your date stay longer. And if you're not into that, I believe there's an egg fa diavolo here, toasted spicy marinara sauce, or marinara if you really want to show off and just lay it all on the line. No picture for this though. For every one detractor in a book of any kind, there is at least one recurring bonus section which I think is pretty darn cool to show, and that is food dudes in this case. Stephen Raichlen profiles some of his favorite guys in the food world, and there are two I like to profile for you here. One of which is Stanley Tucci. You probably know him, the Emmy Award-winning, Oscar-nominated actor and host of Vine Talk on PBS. That is a food show produced by WNET, that's Channel 13 over here, with weekly blind taste testings and a celebration really of food, wine, and culture. I think it's darn awesome. I actually sat down and watched an entire marathon of it on Channel 13 back when it was airing at that time. I was that enthralled. I loved every minute of it. Now, let's get into the more adventurous recipes. The stuff that we put the disclaimer at the top of the show for. Like this, curried goat. No photo for any of the adventurous recipes. The one that would have PETA on your behind. Goat is the new lamb. This lean, rich flavored meat is turning up at hipster restaurants and cutting-edge cookouts from Brooklyn to Berkeley. So part of its appeal is a certain one-upsmanship. Beef cheeks, been there. Pig's ears, done that. But goat remains exotic. Part of the mystique is taste. For young goat can be as mild as veal, and that's sliced baby cows. Hello, PETA. While mature goat tastes as gamey as mutton, this comes as no surprise to French West Indians for whom this intensely flavorful curried goat is comfort food and party dish combined. Another flavorful and adventurous option to consider, braised rabbit with Kalamata olives, giving new meaning to the term bunny boiler. Rabbit has been slow to turn up on American tables, and even now, you find it primarily at restaurants. Europeans and French Canadians have enjoyed this lean mild meat for centuries. Italians eat some 300,000 tons a year. Richer tasting than chicken, but delicate like veal, rabbit stands up to bold seasonings, mustard, wine, olives, prunes, without surrendering its unique flavor. And it's low in fat and cholesterol. Even if most rabbit is farm raised today, it takes you back to an age when men hunted the meat they ate. Rabbit is still considered weird enough to make eating it an adventure. And an adventure worth having if it gets you to the right place, if you know what I mean. Otherwise put, it's not all that hard to be the first guy on your block to cook rabbit, and doing so earns you certain bragging rights. You also eat very well. This meltingly tender braised rabbit, tangy with wine and Kalamata olives, comes from my French-Canadian actor friend, Francis Reddy. Read about him on page 332. He's like this host of a French-Canadian version of The View that celebrates all things food. It's similar to Vine Talk. And finally, we have Thomas Jefferson, the second of the two food dudes I wanted to highlight. I think he might actually be my favorite. I mean, if you pause and enlarge the screen, you'll understand why. Writer Thomas Cromwell chronicles Jefferson's obsession with wine and food in a fascinating little book called Thomas Jefferson's Creme Brulee. I asked Cromwell, Raichlen asked Cromwell, to channel Jefferson as a food dude for this book. So this Thomas Cromwell channeled his inner Thomas Jefferson, and he wrote as if he was actually Thomas Jefferson. Many know him as the one who was the author of the Declaration of Independence and the one who brought mac and cheese to the Americas. So he too is an honorary foodie, and our first foodie at that, a very historical one. Retail price for this is $24.95 US, and it was actually the last publication collaboration between Stephen Raichlen and publisher Peter Workman of Workman Publishing before Workman bit the dust, so to speak. So, rest his soul for something as A1 as this. I think you'll recall throughout the video that a lot of the pictures do not correlate correctly with their recipes. So, for that reason, I'm gonna have to ding it a little bit. A 4.5 out of 5. One minor problem that I can overlook greatly, given the fact that you get so much in this. From the basics to the recipes, which I showed you that I had to put the disclaimer up at the top of the program. This is A1 material for anyone who's looking to turn the hottest night into the hottest next morning through the power of food. You make any one of these meals, you follow this to a T, or use this as a rough guide and reference guide to add your own taste to the mix, and I guarantee you, it's not just the kitchen and dining room table where the sparks will fly. And since we started with the visual demonstration, I feel like we should end this video with one. If you do this, and do it right, preferably with the love of your life or the love of your life elect, it will lead to this. Need I say more? It also leads to a stronger family bond and more self-esteem for yourself.
So if you had one thing to say to a guy who just doesn't have any enthusiasm for cooking, what would that be?
The best way to eat well is to cook well. Just start, no matter how simple, just do it.
Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the thrift side.